Coach Combs.
Hey now,
How you doing, man?
good to see you, boy.
Good to see you, man. How you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Good, good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so you'll have a seat right over there.
Here?
Yes, sir. Yep, you're right there. Yep.
You.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, okay. That'll work.
Yeah, I saw that. That's fantastic too, man. I'm dying to see some of the other cats.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I had to pay arm and a leg for this stuff.
I was about to say there's some expensive equipment.
Yeah, I kind of had to put on a little layaway.
Don't blame you.
All right, let's rock.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? This is Coach Love with Recruit Oklahoma, also known as ROK. And I have a very special guest for us today, and I'm excited to get to talk to him. I've known him for a while, but let's get into it. He's one of the most gifted athletes to ever grace the hardwoods of Oklahoma. He was a superstar at Star Spencer High School, where he claimed 4 state titles in a row. He went 28-0 his senior year, garnering all-state honors and other awards. He was a dominant force at Oklahoma State University, earning first-team All Big 8 honors as a senior, and was selected 26th overall in the 1983 NBA draft by the Indiana Pacers. He is currently giving back to his community through coaching, mentoring, and through numerous high schools and camps across the state of Oklahoma. I want you to welcome to the ROK Podcast. Give it up for Mr. Leroy Combs.
Thank you. Thank you. It is great to be here. It's great to see you. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, we have known each other a long time now.
Yeah. We're both Cowboys.
Absolutely that.
Go Pokes, go Pokes. So what's been going on with you, Coach? What you been up to?
Let me tell you, it's been a pretty productive last year. I resigned as the boys basketball coach at Capitol Hill High School. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and have me some fun.
I got to
play a little golf and do a little traveling. So I'm doing well.
Good deal. Well, congratulations on retiring and everything. So
thank you.
Were you planning on traveling to anywhere?
Oh, absolutely. My daughter just had my grandson on April 1st, so I haven't seen him yet. I'm going to go out to Las Vegas and visit with him soon. And, I plan on going on to I'm a big snorkeler. I love snorkeling.
Okay.
And got introduced to it.
You can stand up in the ocean.
There are some points in the ocean that you actually can stand up. But
well, not as tall as you, but yeah.
I'm gonna go out and do some snorkeling later this summer as well. So I got.
So you just have one daughter, or how many kids?
I have one daughter and 3 sons.
One daughter, 3 sons. Okay.
My daughter is 6'1".
Yep.
My youngest son is 6'11". The one next to him, middle son, is 6'10", and my oldest son is 6'6". So.
How tall was mom? Huh?
6'2".
6'2"? Okay,
it's her fault.
It was inevitable.
I'm gonna blame her.
Man, come on.
Absolutely.
All right. So you said your daughter. So I remember I'm meeting your daughter one time. She worked in the radio business.
That's absolutely.
Broadcasting?
She at 1140, and had a great time there. I went and did a couple of interviews with her there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned a grandkid. This is your first?
Yes.
Your first grandkid?
Actually, sorry, that's wrong. My oldest son has a daughter. I have my granddaughter, so I have actually 2.
With your kids, as a competitive athlete as you were, tell me what was your approach, or in your molding your kids and raising your kids, and how that?
I'll tell you a story about especially my daughter. My daughter played at Northern Oklahoma Junior College up in Tonkawa, and didn't play after that. My youngest son also played at Northern and went on to play at Oklahoma City University. And then my middle son did not play high school basketball or college basketball. Okay. And my oldest son played at Seminole Junior College and then went on to Southeastern Oklahoma State University. And with all of my kids, my kids are not really sure how good a basketball player I was.
They never do.
They don't care. And that was fine.
Yeah.
But when my kids were playing, people would ask me all the time, you pushing your kids to, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
not at all.
Right. Yeah.
I am there to support my kids. If they're playing, I'm watching.
Right.
My daughter, when I think she was 8, she was just learning the game and had aspirations of becoming a WNBA player. And I'm watching her game and I'm like, hey, box out, go do this, go do that. And she stops the game, turns to the stands and looks at me and says, Dad, you're putting pressure on me. And I was like, oh my God.
Can't do that. Can't
From
put
that
pressure.
day forward, I watched after the game. We analyzed what they did. If they had questions on, what I thought, I'd tell them. But otherwise, I was just a supporting dad.
I've been caught in that situation before too.
You understand
several
my
times.
plight?
I understand. I understand. So, Coach, before we get into a lot of your background in your sports or the sports background, tell me about who is Leroy Combs? Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Not a lot of people know I'm from Arcadia, Oklahoma.
Okay, no, I didn't know that.
not a lot of people know that.
Okay.
If you're with me and you hear somebody call me Red.
Okay.
I was Little Red. My father was Big Red.
Okay, gotcha.
In Arcadia.
In Arcadia.
So those are probably people who are from Arcadia that know me from there.
Okay.
Grew up there. I went to Arcadia Elementary School. Played basketball in the 5th grade. First time, I was 10 years old and fell in love with the game. Went on from Arcadia to Rogers Middle School. My mother moved to Midwest City, and all of us started going to my older sisters at Star Spencer and myself at Rogers Middle School, my little brother. Went on, obviously, to Star Spencer after that.
So did you play any other sports, or was it just basketball?
I dabbled a little bit in track.
Track, okay.
High jump.
High jump, okay. I was going to say high jump or long jump.
Yeah, but that's just a dabble.
Just a dabble, okay.
When Coach Johnson said that, hey, if you're going to play another sport, you're not going to play basketball, I was done with other sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't really do too much?
No.
Not even in high school?
No.
Okay. At 10 years old, that's when you knew you wanted to be...
We played 2 games that year.
Okay.
The first game was at this elementary school called George Wright Elementary. And it was on Sooner Road between 63rd and Hefner, somewhere in there. Went to the game and started playing the game. Fire broke out in the woods behind it.
Okay.
And there was smoke all in the gym.
Okay.
And started wheezing and
Wow.
coughing. Of course, they stopped the game for a while, got the fire under control, finished the game. George Wright Elementary beat us.
Okay.
That set me on a track to never want to lose again.
Man.
So when they came back to a few weeks later, they came to Arcadia Elementary and we played them, we beat them, and I was hooked.
Got you. You caught that killer mentality.
I did. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I lost my first game ever.
Oh man.
Because if I hadn't, losing would have been, second nature.
So at your early age, did you have any role models or any type of motivation from anybody that in Arcadia?
My dad won 3 state championships at Arcadia High School.
Okay.
Back when he went to school, and he was kind of a role model from about 10, 11 on. After that, when I figured out that Dr. J played on TV, I started watching, NBA guys, and Dr. J was my hero.
Okay.
Matter of fact,
that's what you kind of remind me of when I've seen some few highlights of you. But
I emulated a lot of what he did.
Okay.
And he couldn't do anything wrong as far as I was concerned.
So in high school, that was just basketball. You didn't mess with football.
Not ran cross country.
Okay.
Only because we had to.
Okay.
The basketball team was the cross country.
Oh, okay.
But that was it.
Okay. Did you have any other coaches trying to press you into doing anything?
All the time. Football
you were
coach
just
wanted
an
me to
athlete,
run, tight end, wide receiver, whatever. And
you could run and jump.
I said, talk to Coach Johnson. If Coach Johnson approves it, I'll play. And he never did, of course.
Oh man. So tell me about Coach Johnson. What is
Johnny Johnson? Short, shorter than you.
Oh man, I'm not short though. I'm not.
You know, he's a
I guess you
short.
can call anybody short.
Yeah, man. I call a lot of people short.
Okay.
But short, stocky, good dude, man. He played with the Globetrotters back in the day, and you know, when I lived in Arcadia, he would come and to the rec center out there and pass out lunches and kind of organize games and that deal. And I really didn't get to know him then, but until I got to Star Spencer, and once I got there, you know, he was something. He had this thing that he'd say, and all the fellas that played for Star Spencer, "You sorry sucker, you the sorriest sucker I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah.
And I tell kids all the time, you know, you feel bad because I tell you, you know, to box out and rebound, but son, I was called a sorry sucker every day of my high school career.
Until you did it right. Yeah.
You know, I'll show you a sorry sucker.
You ended up 6'8"?
6'8".
Okay. So how tall were you when you came into high school? Do you remember that?
I do, and I get this question a lot. I was about 5'11".
As a freshman?
As an eighth grader.
As an eighth grader, okay.
As an eighth grader.
Okay.
Going into Star Spencer, and I got to Star Spencer at 5'11".
Yeah. Wow. Dang.
Played my first year, you know, I may have grown an inch, maybe. Sophomore year, between freshman and sophomore year, I left freshman year about 6 foot. I came back at 6'3".
Okay.
And I had a massive growth spurt.
Well, yeah.
Of course, knees were hurting.
I was going to ask you, were your knees hurting?
Yeah, oh my gosh, crying every day because I was in pain.
You icing them and all that stuff.
I hated it.
Yeah.
But the look on those coaches' eyes when they saw me come back in that gym over the summer, 6'3", 6'4", was priceless.
Were you a class clown? Were you?
No, not really.
It's kind of serious.
No,
kind of middle of the pack. Were you?
No, I was pretty serious. I was very serious about basketball. I say no, but I was also in drama.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I had a friend named David Tompkins. He moved out and became an actor in Los Angeles. But he and I, we were in a bunch of plays together in drama, and we clowned it up quite a bit in drama. So.
I bet that was fun. I bet that was fun. You won 4 state championships.
Yeah.
So coming in as a freshman, winning the state championship, sophomore year championship. So tell me what that was like. I mean, who were the guys you played with and stuff like that?
Oh, my God, I could talk about them forever.
Let's do it.
You know, we had my freshman year, we had a point guard named Alvin Parker. Unfortunately, he shot a highway patrolman and is in prison for life. But Alvin was one of the best players I had ever seen. You know, he could shoot it, he could handle it, he could do a whole lot of stuff. And I really liked him. I kind of hung with him a little bit. And then another player, Richard Gathers, was on that team. Player you might know, Roger Taylor, who played football at Oklahoma State.
Okay, I heard the name.
He was on that team as well. Snake Gresham, some really good players. And this is Star Spencer's first state championship.
Okay.
20, I think we were 23-2 that year. And, you know, playing with those guys was, you know, I was in awe. You know, I didn't ever hit the floor. You know, I was happy to be at practice.
Right.
I was happy to be a part of that squad. Going into my sophomore year, 27-1, lost to Northeast.
Okay.
You're too young to know this, but they had a song back then. I can't remember who sang that song, but you know, somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to play the fool. You know.
Okay.
That song, we lost to Northeast, and that song was dedicated to us.
Wow.
On the KFJL radio.
Okay.
You wouldn't know. You're
No,
too
I
young
don't know.
back in the day.
Yeah.
And you know, it was devastating to lose that game, but we went on to win the state championship.
Right.
And you know, again, Snake.
Did you play them in playoffs or anything?
No, they were
Just
in a
the regular
different
season.
class.
Oh, okay.
They better be glad we didn't play them in the playoffs.
Okay.
And I'll have an example here
Okay.
in this very next year.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
And Snake Gresham, Glenn Johnson, gosh, there were so many good players on the team. I hardly ever played. I did get to play that year.
Yeah. Okay.
A smidgen.
A little bit. Yeah.
I played against Northwest Class, and they had a great team. And I'm trying to think. We beat them in a game out in Moore. Went on and beat Tulsa Edison in the state championship game.
Okay.
27-1, and you know, state champions. Junior year, the worst year for Star Spencer basketball.
Really? Okay.
State championships.
Okay. Gotcha.
We had Julius Boone, Mark Clayton, Eric Gathers, Jesse Orange, Ralph Davis, Theron Forshee, myself, Kenny Orange, Rod Baker, Eugene Scott. I mean, these are names that you may not have heard of,
Right.
but were really outstanding basketball players. We ended up 22-4
Okay.
and lost 2 games to Southeast High School
Wow. Okay.
by 1 point each game.
Dang.
And then
okay.
back then, you know, both schools were so popular. They moved all those games to, you know, the Cox Center or UCO,
you had some room.
or, you know,
Yeah.
so more people could attend the games.
Right.
And Southeast beat us, and it was devastating.
Wow. Yeah.
And we turn around and get Southeast in the finals of the state championship game. Now, Southeast has a big white cake trimmed in blue with Southeast High School state champions 1978.
And that's
Sitting on the table.
that's the year y'all playing. That's in the championship game.
Before the championship game.
Okay.
Sitting on the table on the court side.
Wow.
And we all looked at that and went, are you kidding me? Because they
Man.
just knew they were going to be this. Of course, they had Matt Clark and Randy Page and Tim Salyers. They had a really good team.
Is it
Harold
the same,
Taylor.
Same Matt Clark that played with you at OK?
That's correct.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
correct. Beat them by 1 point to win the state championship in
So-
78.
So y'all, the 3 games y'all played, they were all decided by 1 point.
That's exactly right. That's
3
exactly
points.
right.
Wow.
Great
Yeah.
games, though. I mean,
Yeah.
back then, you know, nowadays you don't see a whole lot of packed houses at high school games.
No.
Back then, it was the place to be.
Oh yeah.
And you had to be there. Going to my senior year, myself, Ralph Davis, Eugene Scott, Tracy Smith, Theron Forshee, Rod Baker, Kenny Orange, all seniors.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 7 seniors on that 79 state championship team that didn't lose a game.
Okay.
To beat Star Spencer back then was its own state championship.
Okay.
Back then.
Okay. Yeah.
Teams would try desperately to get us, and by the time we became seniors, most of them couldn't come within 20 points of us.
Yeah. I saw. What was the score of your senior year championship? It was about 20 or something. Or
Well, it was 58-38.
Yeah,
something like that. I think
Yeah.
that's exactly right. 58.
okay. All those players that you mentioned that you played with.
Sure.
Did any of them go to the next level?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
My senior year, all but one of our seniors went and played college basketball.
Okay.
Some place or another.
Yeah.
We had a college team. As a matter of fact, we tried desperately to get
on the same team.
schedule a game with some junior colleges.
Okay.
They wouldn't play us.
Man.
I don't blame them.
You're talking about the high school team.
The high school team.
that would be nice. Yeah.
You know, most of the excuses were, you know, it's against the rules, or you know, my guys aren't in town, or whatever.
We just don't want to lose.
We don't want to lose. But yeah, Ralph Davis, the ones that went the furthest were Ralph Davis. He went to Seminole, and then he went on to Tulane University. Kenny Orange went to Oklahoma Christian University. Of course, I went to Oklahoma State, and Eugene Scott went to college in Kansas. Tracy Smith also went to college in Kansas as well. So,
did you have any embarrassing moments in as far as in like a game where you maybe, I don't know, scored the wrong basket, or just, fell down and everybody laughing at you? I don't know.
Well,
maybe Little League.
The closest, no, never.
Okay.
The closest I came, we were playing against Tulsa, Washington.
Okay.
With Wayman Tisdale on the team.
Yeah.
And in a tournament at our place, and I went down the lane and dunked one. Back then they had the collapsible rims that they just break down. Yeah. So I break the rim down, and the crowd goes crazy. Just thinking that, you know, the game's over, we can't play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I jump up there and I put it back in. The crowd just went way higher, erupted. You know, that's as close as I can get to an embarrassing moment. You know, I've never scored at the wrong basket. I was about basketball. I was pretty serious. I was very, very focused.
Tell me about recruiting back then. I know, but how was recruiting for you?
You know, people think that I was recruited by all these big time schools, and I was. And I'll tell you two stories. The first story, I was recruited by Texas Arlington University, and got on a plane, first time flying and all that. You know, go down to Texas and get on campus on a Saturday, and you know, they show me the campus, and it's great and all of that, and we go play, and you know, I have a good time playing. Next day, we go to lunch at noon, and the coach takes me into the cafeteria. Well, obviously, there's not a whole bunch of cooks around.
Okay, yeah.
On a Sunday afternoon.
Right.
So they feed me bologna sandwiches.
Oh, man, okay. They
recruiting you. I'm from Arcadia, dog. Bologna sandwich is fine. That'd be fine. I ain't got no problem with it. Let's eat, okay?
Yeah.
Soon as we get done with lunch, it's about 1 o'clock. We go play, and then I go to the coach's office right after we play.
And what do you mean you go play? You talking about your high school game?
No, with the college guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we just go pickup game.
Okay.
And then I go straight to the coach's office, and he sets me down. He says, "Hey, you know, you're number one on our recruiting list. We want you to sign and this deal." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, okay." And he says, "Listen, I'm gonna need you to sign right now.
Right now.
I'm gonna need you to sign right now. I got other guys that are waiting." I said, "Coach, you just fed me bologna sandwiches,
Exactly.
and you want me to sign?" I'm
right.
like, I'd like to have my get to the airport and go to the house.
My
you know,
return flight.
Second story. A lot of people don't know this. Snake Gresham, who graduated in 1977, went to the University of Oklahoma, and you know, he was my idol in high school. If Snake Gresham got his ankle taped, Leroy Combs got his ankle taped.
Okay.
Just
because.
If Snake Gresham had to fart before the game, Leroy Combs had to fart. Whatever he did, I loved, and I loved his game. And anyway,
where did you mention he went anywhere? Where'd he go play basketball? Snake, yeah.
Oklahoma University.
Oklahoma, okay.
And then he transferred to Oklahoma Christian University.
Okay.
Okay,
gotcha,
but
gotcha.
he was at OU, and so I get a letter from the University of Oklahoma when my senior year, and they were really interested. We like your game. We think you could help us, whatever. And okay, coach, no problem. He calls me. It's like, hey, we want you to come down and visit next weekend. This was a Saturday. Next weekend, we want you to come down and we'll show you campus. And I'm like, no problem, coach. I'm there. Snake Gresham went to Oklahoma University,
so you
I'm good with
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I mean, I ain't got no problem.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, coach. Hey, listen, Leroy. I want you to watch the Dave Bliss show Sunday, 3:00. Okay. I have no problem watching the Dave Bliss show. Mm-hmm. On the Dave Bliss show, they asked Dave Bliss, they said, you got players from Indiana, you got players from Ohio, you got players from all around the country. Why don't you have more players from the state of Oklahoma on your team? And he said, and I quote, well, we don't feel that Oklahoma has quality enough basketball players to help the University of Oklahoma to win a Big 8 championship or a state championship.
Wow.
Or national championship.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there looking at this. Ripped it up.
Man.
So the coach calls me the next day.
That's worse than a bologna sandwich.
Oh, at least I was good enough with the bologna sandwich.
Yeah, right.
The coach calls me the next day and he says, hey, did you get a chance to watch the show? I was like, absolutely, coach. I watched the show, absolutely. He says, oh, great. When can we schedule to get down here for a visit? I said, coach, there's no way I'm going to come to the University of Oklahoma. He's like, why? I said, coach, you might want to watch the Dave Bliss show. Hung up the phone.
Wow.
Never heard from him again.
Man, that's crazy.
And, people talk about the rivalry. I got personal reason why I don't like. I like the University of Oklahoma.
But we understand. Yeah.
The personal reason I won't go there is because they didn't feel like I was good enough. And, Paul Hansen, of course, Oklahoma State recruited me. And, he came to my house at a time when my brother is 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
And he was a sophomore at the time, cooking some French fries in the kitchen. Okay. One thing I love about my mother, who deceased, she died in '98. She taught us all how to cook, so it was no big deal. Right. Cooking French fries, his boys call him and say, hey, let's go over here. And he took off, left the French fries cooking, burned the kitchen down.
Man.
So all of what was left in our cabinets was sitting on our kitchen table. Paul Hansen comes into my house, and I'm embarrassed as hell. I keep looking at the table and looking at him and looking at the table. He got this burnt smell. He says, Leroy, listen, none of that matters. Your mother is such a good mom. She's gonna take care of all of that. I just want you to come play basketball for me. I never forgot that. And that meant a whole lot to me that he could come into my house with all the chaos that's going on in my house and still want me to come play basketball.
Right.
So Oklahoma State recruited me. I was recruited by Drury College up in Missouri. I was recruited by a bunch of JUCOs. I wasn't going to go play JUCO. One last story about recruiting. I went to Phillips University, which is where one of my teammates ended up signing. They were on 4-sheet. And we go play, and I just dominate.
Of course.
And get done playing and go to coach's office, and my friend Theron Forshee was there with me, and he says, Leroy, we want you to come play basketball for us. What do you want? The sky's the limit.
Okay.
And
what you mean the sky? Was that
the sky is the limit. I could get whatever I want. If I wanted a Benz, I get a Benz. If I wanted a house, I get a house. Well, the sky's the limit.
A new kitchen.
A new kitchen. That's what I should have asked for. So I said to him, I said, Coach, are you gonna be on TV? And he said, yes. If we get to the national championship game.
That's the only time,
The national championship game is the only time.
Yeah.
It's like, Coach, my mother's not gonna be able to travel and watch me play. My mother got away. I can't come here. You know, I got to be somewhere where they're gonna.
Yeah.
And my friend, call him Rip, said, "How could you turn down The Sky's the Limit?" It's like, hey, they ain't gonna be on TV. I ain't going.
Man, that's a lot of kids want to be on TV.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I only wanted to go. My mother had a heart attack when I was a junior, I think, and you know, couldn't go to games for a little while. And you know, I wanted to make sure that she got a chance to see me play if she wanted to see me play. My mother was my biggest fan. She would take me to places just to show me off, like I was some big trophy or something. You know,
She's proud.
She's very proud. You know, and so if they wasn't going to be on TV, I wasn't going to be there.
Man, speaking of TV, when I was a freshman, I mean, I was recruited heavily in the Midwest region, Big 8. It was Big 8 right before it became the Big 12.
Sure.
And so, of course, you know, I don't want to be on TV.
Oh, absolutely.
And I got my wish. My first ever college game was against the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Okay.
The year after they won the national championship.
Oh, wow.
First college game on ESPN. Out of all the games in the country, we were the first game on a Thursday night.
I remember that.
Primetime ESPN.
I remember that.
And we got
blasted. I remember that too.
64-21. I mean, we got Lawrence Phillips was running.
Yep.
I mean, man, that was. But I still got the wristbands from the game.
Wow.
But being
Nice.
on TV, so that was a big deal for me. So
Yeah.
it was cool. So when you get to college, how was the transition as far as athletes were concerned? Like, you know, sometimes you hear when you get to college, there guys are as good as you or better. You know,
Right.
tell me about the transition from high school to college.
You know, for me, it was fairly smooth. I didn't have to change positions. Once I went to the NBA, I did, but I played the 4 in high school. I was going to play the 4 in college, 4 or 5, either or. That part was academically, it was a challenge. I wasn't used to. I was used to teachers sitting there working with me.
Right.
And
I
you know,
found out
them teachers in college, they give it to you. You get it or you don't get it. That's
Exactly.
all it is.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was a challenge. But the major adjustment for me was being on my own. I went home every weekend when I first got there. Every weekend I drive to the house. It's an hour. But eventually that changed, and my mother was like, "Are you ever gonna come home?"
Right.
You know. But that was the biggest. It's being on my own and doing my own thing.
I went through that process as well too.
Right.
Nobody's there to
Right.
wake you up, and that's what I tell athletes nowadays is like take care of business from the start.
Yeah.
And I mean, I almost flunked out my first year, my first semester.
my first semester, second semester, I was ineligible. I missed it by 1 credit.
Okay.
And I had a correspondence course sitting on the shelf. All I had to do was do it and send it, and I wouldn't have had no problems. I didn't do it. If I ever missed class, and this happened a few times, coach would come to the annex.
Okay. I remember the annex. Yeah.
And find me, because that's where I was.
Of course.
I was in the gym. I was, you know.
Not studying, hooping.
Yeah. No, you know. So I became ineligible. Had I not become ineligible, I probably would have left Oklahoma State as the leading scorer and leading rebounder. As it turned out, I was the 4th leading scorer and 4th leading rebounder in school history when I left, and both of those were missed by, you know, a few hundred points, a few hundred rebounds. Yeah. And I was a glass eater, so I loved rebounding. So, you know, I would have definitely smashed that one.
Of course. What was a typical game day ritual for you? Or what did you do when on game days? What was your go-to? Or did,
I got a routine in high school, when I was in high school, of catching at least about a 30 to 40 minute nap.
Okay.
Every game day. You know, in high school, you napping in the locker room and everybody moving around. It's kind of hard to get a real solid nap, but I would do it anyway. When I got to college, Saturday, we'd go to the shoot around. It usually happened around, depending on what time the game was, around noon, 11 o'clock some days. Go home, eat, and go right to sleep for an hour. Wake up, and I'm at the gym. If we have let's say we have a 7 o'clock game, 5 o'clock I'm at the gym. Because I like to get dressed slowly because I think about nothing but the game. And there were so many great players in college back then that you know, I had to think about how I wanted to play against these guys.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do. I played that game way before I played that game.
Right.
And you know, so I'd sit at my locker and I'd think about, okay, if this guy goes this way, because I watched film. I was a big film watcher from high school.
Okay.
And I'd know everything that guys are going to do.
Now, did y'all have a film that was like roll?
Yeah, okay, I'm old. Yeah, I'm glad I cut my gray off. Yes,
okay,
reel to reel.
Yeah, okay.
As a matter of fact, and I have reel to reel high school games.
Okay.
That at the house right now.
I'd love to see those. Shoot,
I got no problem. Let's share them.
I'd love
with
to
you.
see those.
And you know, so I'd catch my nap. I'd go to the game. I'd think about this game, and by the time the game started, I was ready to play it.
Yeah.
I never, except one time, I never got overly excited or overly enthused about any one particular game. But one time, we were playing, my senior year, we were playing against Steve Stepanovich, who went to Missouri. And he's 6'11". Matter of fact, he was the first player taken in the '83 draft by Indiana. And I was the 26th player taken by Indiana.
Okay.
So we had to play together.
Makes it a little tough.
But
yeah.
he scored 33 points in that game, and I was just super hyped the whole day.
Yeah.
We got him again in the Big 8 championship game my senior year, and I remembered how hyped I was, and I calmed it way down. Ended up scoring 32 and grabbing 15 boards and becoming the player of the game.
Okay.
Whatever, but you know, yeah, my ritual was simple.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't wear the same socks all the time or nothing stupid like that.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to have wristbands though.
Okay.
Like you said you kept your wristbands.
Yeah.
I had to have two. They were wrist towels for me. I mean, I used them.
Some of them wear them nowadays just to be pretty.
Look.
Yeah, just be
They
pretty.
wear them for the look. They wear them up here.
Yeah, up here.
I
Like,
can't.
yeah.
I can't. You know.
What? So you played with some notable athletes. Bill Self, who's head coach at Kansas, and and we mentioned Matt Clark.
Yeah.
Do you keep up with any of those guys and talk to them?
Lorenz Andrews was on that team. I talk with him fairly frequently. You know, he'll call me and check on me. I'll call him and check on him. Matt Clark, same deal. He's somewhere around here in Oklahoma City doing some stuff. But I don't talk to Bill very often. You know, one of my roommate was a guy named Raymond Crenshaw. And Ramos, I called him, was the only player that I've ever played against. I mean, of course, I had in practice. Okay. The only player that I've ever played against that I wanted to fight him. I wanted to. And the only reason
you was on the wish factor. You was always
the only reason I wanted to fight him because I couldn't do nothing. He had my game down. I mean, I couldn't make none of the moves that I always made. I was and he was my room dog.
Oh man,
he was my roommate.
Y'all didn't talk about it in the room.
No, we never did actually.
Say, look,
we
man.
were close to blows a bunch of times on the court.
Okay.
And when that was over with, hey man,
y'all was dapping it up, yeah.
Girls over here, man. We
back to business.
You know, but yeah, he could play some defense. He was really good defensive player, and made all Big 8 defense team several years.
Yeah.
He lives in Alabama now and with his wife and kids, but I talk to him quite a bit as well.
You played at Oklahoma State between 79 and 83.
That's correct.
Did you ever run into any racial problems or situations during those years?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. You know, I was fortunate that I had to deal with racial issues in high school. Anytime we go play at Bing or, you know, all the smalls on Sulphur or, you know, southwestern Oklahoma, we ran into the N-word. We ran into, you know, people spitting at us and that deal. And we were taught not to react to it. And I was fortunate that we had, you know, the one coach that I can attribute my success with dealing with racial issues was Phil Ingersoll.
Okay, yeah.
Who was the assistant coach at Star Spencer and taught me everything I know about fundamentals of basketball.
Okay.
He was an incredible coach.
Yeah.
Incredible coach.
Heard a lot about him.
So we'll go back a little bit. My freshman year on the freshman team, we won, I think we won maybe 8 games and lost 6 or 7.
Okay.
And the same exact team played on a sophomore team together.
Okay.
And we went 15-0 as sophomores with Phil Ingersoll coaching us. He was, you've had them coaches that I mean, if you're off by that much, they still go off on you.
Oh yeah. He's
Right.
coming in later today.
Okay.
Tommy Griffin.
Okay. You already know.
yeah.
You already know.
Yeah,
Phil Ingersoll was one of those.
Yeah.
You know, you know, do it right. So we had this rebounder. You know, and they throw the balls up in the machine, and you go up and you pull the thing down and kick it out. Yeah. We had to do 10 in a row. If we didn't do 10 in a row, we started over. Rebound, outlet, rebound, outlet. And then we had this thing called mic and drill.
I've heard, yeah.
You know the mic and
Yes,
drill.
yeah.
You know, right hand, left hand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Phil came up with this great idea that if you don't release the ball above the rim, you start over. So
Everybody can't jump
the
that high.
hand had to be above the rim.
Okay.
You're right. Everybody can't. So that was a Leroy Combs rule,
Oh, okay.
right? I'm
Yeah.
like, dude,
Yeah.
really?
Right.
But release it here above the rim, release it. If you don't release it above the rim, no, it don't matter whether you make it or not. If you don't release it above the rim, you start over. Had to do 10 in a row then.
Man.
I figured out early that I'm going to get this done the first time because I ain't doing this 15 times. Because
Right.
time 3, you know, you ain't quite getting above the rim.
Yeah, it's
So-
you're struggling then. Yeah.
Phil Ingersoll was a big catalyst, the reason why I was able to be as good as I was. Tommy Griffin was, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. He, holy cow.
Yeah.
Just saw him the other day.
Yep. Yeah. So in 1982, you scored. There was a game where you scored 24 points and grabbed 17 rebounds. The only thing was you had a swollen face. What was going on?
Wow, you did your homework. So we go to Colorado. That wasn't the first time that had happened.
Okay.
It had happened. It happened at home against Kansas State. We're playing Kansas State, and I scored, 18, 20 points and grabbed a bunch of rebounds in that game as well. But nobody knew what was happening because when I went to the sideline, I had a towel over my head, and nobody could see my face. In the Colorado game, triple overtime game, great game.
Yeah.
Great game. And I'm having a game of my life, but before the game, I ate. Was
it peanuts or?
No, it's tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Oh, okay.
Tomatoes probably, and it might have been pecans.
Pecans. Okay.
I was also allergic to the stickum, the hand rosin.
Yeah.
You know, when LeBron does his poof, you know, thing.
all that stuff.
That stuff I was allergic to as well. So
Okay.
we used that before games. I didn't know I was
You didn't
allergic
know.
to it.
Right. Yeah.
And my face starts swelling. my eyes are nearly closed.
Man.
But for some reason, it brought a focus that I have never.
You had to.
I got to really concentrate on what I'm doing,
Right.
and I could score, and I could rebound, and I could run, I could do all this stuff with this swollen face, eyes nearly shut,
Looking like Hitch on the movie. Was it?
Yeah,
Swollen.
absolutely, yeah. And I played better, and coach said, "Hey, I think I'm gonna put some rosin in your face for every game."
I think he said something like he's gonna get you a pecan pie
Right.
every day. Yeah.
So,
We're gonna do this all the time.
Yeah. It was
good stuff.
It was tough. Again, it was 3 that year. That was my senior year. We had 4 overtime games.
Okay.
And won all of them. So when we got to the Big 8 championship game, which was overtime as well, when we went to overtime, we knew we were going to win.
Yeah. NIL, name, image, and likeness. That's kind of you probably wanted it back then as well. I mean,
Where my money?
I mean, right? Retro back pay.
Yeah, let's go back to '79 and then get it.
Yeah.
I 2 things.
Okay.
Number one, I am all for these young people getting paid. I thought I should have got paid.
Of course.
I couldn't take a meal at a donor's house, you know. And now these guys are being paid for the entertainment that they're providing. Second thing, I think the paying the players through the university that just came out, I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I think that is going to end up doing more harm than good to the game, not only basketball, football, whatever,
Right.
Sports in college. And I really hope that they would rethink that.
Yeah, I've had several conversations about that, and I'm with you. I mean, it's like, some schools can raise more money or have more money to distribute, and what's the saying called? Big bank take little bank. I mean,
Oklahoma State can do more than Oral Roberts.
Absolutely right.
Type of stuff.
So
it's unfortunate that, and here's the other deal. How are you going to determine who gets what?
Yeah.
I left the school as the 4th leading scorer and rebounder. I was putting up some numbers.
Right. Yeah.
Is that guy that sits on the end of the bench going to get the same money that I got?
Exactly.
Right. He ain't doing nothing. Right. No. I wish I'd have had 6 years of college basketball. These guys play for 6 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I am all for players getting paid.
Right.
If it's done the right way. I was talking to a friend of mine about this, about a week ago, and I said, on your job, are you getting the same money as everybody in your job?
Right.
No,
Right.
I'm not. I mean, at my job at Capitol Hill, them teachers that got, doctorates make more money than I do.
Yeah.
It's to be expected.
Right.
How are they going to distribute this money to these kids is the question, and I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. So what about the transfer portal? that's a whole nother episode.
It
right?
is.
Yeah. It's tough, man.
Like I said, these guys get 6 years. What?
Back when I played, I had 5 years to play for.
Yes.
You as well?
I actually did that, yeah.
5 years to play for.
Yeah, actually, so I sat out a semester to go play. I went to go play arena ball in Houston. And so my advisor said, well, you have 5 years, so I can take a semester off. I went and played. I ended up getting cut because I got hurt, but came back and I graduated the next semester, and so it was cool. So,
Right. These guys nowadays, guys in their 6th year. One guy I'm talking in his 7th year.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't understand.
Actually, Charles Thompson's son has
6.
his 7th.
He's in his 7th?
His 7th year. So he's gonna finish at OU.
That's amazing.
Because you got the the red shirt years, and then you
Right,
got the
right.
COVID year and all of that stuff, and the
Yeah.
transfer. You know,
Well,
so
that COVID did a whole lot
it did.
for a lot of athletes. I mean,
Yeah.
if I had the chance, I attribute it to holding your kid back.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
obviously you're going to be better than the guys you're playing with if you're held back in the first grade or the second grade or whatever grade,
Right.
you know, and you're gonna be older, you're gonna be better. This transfer portal thing is the same thing. You know, these guys are going to wait a year and then they're going to explode.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they almost have to do it because, you know, the one and done deal with the great players.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting their one in and they're done.
Moving forward to your professional career,
Okay.
You were drafted. You had that first round of guys that were drafted that year. I'm talking, you know, Ralph Sampson, Byron Scott, Dale Ellis, Derek Harper, Clyde Drexler. You know, you were in that draft class.
Scooter McCray, Rodney McCray, Jeff McMillan.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Chicago pre-draft camp.
Okay.
I played there and did okay. Wasn't great. But it wasn't until I went to the Aloha Classic, which is a pre-draft camp in Hawaii.
Okay.
That I kind of came into my own.
Okay.
I played with and against the top 25, 24 players in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
That's who went to these things.
Right.
You know, and I did well. I did very well. Portsmouth, Virginia, they had a camp there as well, and several scouts were very high. I was told that I would be the number 17 pick to the Philadelphia 76ers. Dr. J. Shut up!
Yeah.
You know. And my agent was, you know, he's constantly on the phone talking about it and giving me feedback on, you know, where I'm at.
Right.
When the draft came, the day of the draft, I was at my agent's house before the draft. The day of the draft, my agent came to me and says, "Hey, listen, here's what's going on. This kid, Leo Rollins, who plays Syracuse, Philadelphia, if he's available when they pick, they're taking him.
Okay.
If not, they're taking you."
The 76ers.
The Sixers.
Okay, gotcha.
And I'm like, somebody please take this dude, man. Go ahead and take this dude.
Dream come true.
He was available. They took him at 17 and I dropped to 26. And, you know, I tell my high school kids, I was the 26th best player to come out of the country in 1983.
Yeah.
And Matt Clark was drafted.
Yeah.
Lorenz Andrews was drafted. So, you know, I had the other guys on my squad that got drafted as well. But yeah, it was a crazy time. And, you know, once I was drafted, I was shipped to Indiana to, you know, do all the press conferences. I played on a team with Sidney Lowe, who just won the national championship with North Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
A guy named Jim Thomas, who was at Indiana.
Okay.
Granville Waiters from Ohio State. Steve Stepanovich was also there, and myself. We had five rookies on a team of 12 players.
Wow. Okay.
So you know, we weren't very good.
When you guys got together, say outside of basketball, I mean, tell me some stories.
You know, like I told you earlier, my mother, you know, bless her heart, she taught me to cook. So, you know, when I was in college, I'd cook for guys. And, you know, so when I got to the NBA, I cooked, and that particular Thanksgiving in '83, you know, I cooked up a big deal, and you know, guys would call, "Hey, what are you up to today?" I'm about to eat, man. I cooked up this, that, and the other, ham, some greens.
You had a little money though, little.
You know, I could afford to cook a little something in back then. And they would come over and eat, and we'd hang out. I hung out with Sidney Lowe mostly, a guy named George Johnson, who's from New York, Matter of fact, I was when Marvin Gaye died. I was in a hotel room having a drink with George Johnson in New York City.
Okay.
We were getting ready to play the Knicks. And, you know, we hung out all the time. You know, we'd go to eat, we'd go, you know, to the club, wherever, you know.
Yeah. What was your biggest struggle with the Pacers? Why? I know you only played 1 year.
Doing what I'm doing right now, sitting on that bench. If you've ever seen my rookie card,
I saw that, yeah.
I did that a lot.
Okay.
I played 2 minutes a game in 48 games.
Wow.
The most I played was, I think, against Boston, Detroit, maybe Utah. Can't remember that third, but I played 17 to 20 minutes in those games.
Okay.
And did fairly well in the time I was in there. But that was the most frustrating thing for me is sitting there and watching. Now, our coach was Jack McKinney, who was the Lakers coach.
Okay.
Got run over he was riding a bike, got run over.
Wow.
I don't know if you saw the Lakers show that they Magic and all
Yeah,
of them.
I forgot the name of it.
Showtime or something like that.
Okay.
And anyway, Jack McKinney, every time we played in a game, he would come down to the bench and call me Sidney Lowe for some reason. So, Sidney! And he's looking right at me, and I'm, Sidney's out there.
Right.
What are you talking about? You know. And you know that was frustrating for me. And then you know going back to training camp the next year and getting cut was tough too. It was really tough.
After the Pacers, I read and I saw. Tell me about the Gold Coast
Cougars.
The Cougars, yes. Is that was the NBL?
NBL, National Basketball League in Australia.
Okay, Australia.
You know, I went to, after I was cut from the Pacers, I started playing in the Continental Basketball Association, CBA.
Okay.
Matter of fact, played here in Oklahoma City with the Cowboy.
Yeah, I remember.
And you know, and then going overseas to make some more money.
Yeah.
Because you wasn't gonna get. I was getting $200 and something a week with the Cowboy.
Okay.
The CBA. It was no. Anyway, I went to Australia. I went to Israel. Played over in Israel. Went to Argentina, Venezuela, South Africa, Rome. Went to Italy a couple times. Played different teams there. And then I all the time I'm still trying to get back into the NBA.
Okay.
So in 1988, the Charlotte Hornets had their expansion team.
Okay.
So we were trying out I was trying out for the Charlotte Hornets. There was 40 guys there. Wow. 40.
Okay.
And there was only the 2 baskets. Right?
Yeah.
1 gym, 2 baskets, 40 guys. So 10 guys would play, the other 10 would play, the other 10 would play, and the other 10. Mm-hmm. And I was in the last group. Of course, once you sit there through 24, 36 minutes, 40 minutes, waiting an hour just to get on the court, it was really tough. A guy there named Steve Hudson, who was a coach down there in North Carolina somewhere, and just got the job at Panhandle State University, asked me, hey, listen, if you decide you give up basketball, I want you to come help me. I want you to come be my assistant coach.
Okay.
Cool. I ended up frustrated with Charlotte. Mm-hmm. You know, I was so pissed. Like, told my agent, man, forget that. I'm done with that.
Right.
I'm gonna go, you know, coach this team. So I go to Goodwell, Oklahoma.
I've never heard of that. I don't even know that.
Goodwell is 10 miles south of Guyman, Oklahoma.
Okay, heard of Guyman.
I know you've heard of Guyman. Anyway, I looked out the window one time and saw all that dirt and went, what am I doing? I played against the best out there. Right. What am I doing? So I was so frustrated with being in the middle of nowhere that Australia said they needed a player. Gold Coast Cougars. January of 90. No, yes, 90. I get on a plane and I fly 24 hours basically from Los Angeles to the Australia.
Yeah.
And get down there, and it is beautiful. I'm 10 minutes from the rainforest and 20 minutes from the beach. You know, it was the perfect place for me and at the time, my wife and two kids, 3 kids. When I got down there and started playing, the basketball was really, really, really good. Okay. I was a little surprised because everywhere else that I've gone, Israel, Argentina, Venezuela, wherever, I could just do whatever I wanted to.
Right.
In Australia, they have the 2 American rules, plus if you play in Australia for, I want to say 2 or 3 years, you become an Australian citizen. Get an Australian passport. And so they got 3 and 4 American players on some of the teams. I'm averaging more points, more rebounds, more assists, more blocks, and more steals than I ever have ever in my basketball career. Yeah. And it's I do some of the most spectacular dunks that I've done ever in my career.
I think I saw a picture of one.
That one's the left-handed one.
Yes. I'm like, ooh.
That was probably the best dunk I've ever done. And I've done some stupid dunks.
I bet.
But that one was for real.
Did you ever try with the Globetrotters?
I did not. I did have an opportunity when I was coaching down at Noble High School. They called and I almost went. But my daughter was living with me at the time and going to school at Noble High School, and she just did not want to do it. And I thought I better go and listen to this and not have her send her through all of this.
Right. You coached at Noble for a good while.
4 years.
4
years.
Okay. What was your longest stint? Was it Capitol Hill or like a longest stint at a high school that you
Capitol
coached?
Hill.
Capitol Hill.
8 years.
8 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And you also coached at Star Spencer.
Northwest Classic.
Okay.
And I coached 5 years of college basketball. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay. Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech for 2 years. Okay. I was at Panhandle State for two years, and I was at UCO for 1 year.
So there was a time in coaching in Oklahoma City. You had to testify against your father in a murder trial. How did that affect you at the time, and how do you deal with it now?
Well, a little backstory. I woke up to a gunshot. My father was living with me, and I woke up to a gunshot about 3:30 a.m. one morning, and jumped out of bed, ran into the kitchen dining room area, and found my father holding a gun and a lady bleeding on the floor.
Did you know the lady?
I didn't know her personally, but I did. I was familiar with her in terms of I've seen her with him.
Right. Okay.
She never came in the house.
Okay.
So I take the phone, call 911, start doing chest compressions, CPR on the lady, just try to get this lady to survive. I didn't know what happened, but took the gun from my father and had him. He went to the bedroom. He was wasted.
And how old were you at this time?
43-ish.
Okay. And this is why you were coaching at Northwest Class.
That's why I was coaching the Northwest Class.
Okay.
Correct. And it was tough for my team because we were really, really good. We had several players that went on and played college basketball, and so I'm trying I'm trying to get these young people over the hump. We started that first year, I think we won 9 games. The 9 and 18 this first year, 18 and 9 the second year, 18 and 7 the third year, and in that fourth year we were like 24 and 5 or something. So and we were competing. Yeah. We had to go to Norman North High School to play in a elimination area game. Okay. Against El Reno. Okay. The whole week leading up, that's the Friday game. The whole week leading up to the game, I have to be in court with my dad. Yeah. I have to testify against my dad. I don't go to school. I don't go, I go to court, and then I had my assistant coach doing practice. Yeah. So the Friday game day, we find out that he's convicted and going to spend the rest of his life in jail. I have to leave the courtroom at 5 o'clock to make a 6:30 game at Norman North. We get there and it's a close game. El Reno's really good. They always are. And this particular game is the game that gets you to the state tournament. I got my best free throw shooter on the free throw line. Again, I just came from an emotional situation from the courthouse. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying not to mess it up. Best free throw shooter on the free throw line, 7-8 seconds to go in the game. 2 shots, down by 1. Okay. He misses them both. Wow, man. Missed both of them. Okay. And we lose the game. And I go immediately into the locker room with the players. And the only thing I said was, my dad was convicted of second-degree murder today and is going to spend the rest of his life in jail. And walked out and got in my car and cried all the way home. It was one of the toughest days that I've ever had to deal with. Yeah. And I apologized to those guys weeks after. I apologized to them because, I wasn't there. I wasn't into it. I didn't even want to be there. That's tough, man. I didn't know how to coach. I didn't know what to say. I was relying on my assistant coaches, who was a guy named Dewante Martin, who did a great job for me. I really appreciate him, but it was very, very tough. It really was.
What you just talked about, I would probably venture to say that's probably one of the hardest times in your life.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know a whole lot of people who can deal with, it's like a death. My father's going to jail for life. It's like a death. And then have to turn around and go and try to help these young men get to the state championship. That it just it was the toughest thing that I've ever had to deal with in my life. My mom dying was tough, but it wasn't like that tough. Right. I've had some other situations. I almost made the Detroit Pistons team when Dennis Rodman was a rookie. Okay. They went on to win state or national championship, NBA championship, and because I made a really, really bad choice of going out and drinking the night before our final workout. Oh, okay. Jack McCluskey, who was the general manager at the time, was working inside, and I had alcohol all over me, and he just said, I love him. I'm dunking on these guys. They put a 7-foot guy right in the lane, and we get to come from the angle. Yeah. And just dunk on him. And they're blocking them other guys, but I'm slamming on these guys like crazy. Jack McCluskey loved it, but he just could not take a chance on an alcoholic. Okay. That was a tough thing to swallow, especially considering the fact that they went on to win championships. Right.
Yeah, it could have been you. With
it really could have. but God is good because I was able to bounce back from my dad's major mistake, and I had some good teams, and I've fulfilled my life. My life has been a joy.
Okay.
So, I go see him all the time. I love him to death, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, that was a particularly tough time.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming and sharing time with me and helping me with my podcast.
Hey,
but
anytime.
I want to celebrate and honor and recognize Oklahoma legends, and
absolutely,
of course, you're one of them, and I know you personally.
So exactly. I sure appreciate you, buddy.
So I sure appreciate you. Thanks for coming by.